2022 is set to be a huge year for the Marvel Cinematic Universe with the release of upcoming projects such as Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness next month and the Jared Leto blockbuster Morbius, which dropped earlier this month. But there are a ton of other bits and pieces getting fans' blood pumping as well. Today, we are discussing 5 exciting new additions to the Marvel Universe, so stay right where you are. First up, it's Ms. Marvel. Having first appeared in the Marvel Superheroes comics all the way back in 1968 under her first iteration of Carol Danvers, Ms. Marvel is a staple of the comic world. Since then, there have been 2 other versions of the character, Sharon Ventura and Carla Sofin. But the upcoming TV show will introduce the world's first female teen Muslim superhero, which is set to smash down all sorts of glass ceilings. The character actually appeared in the Captain Marvel comic back in 2013, but this will be the first time we have seen her in her current form on TV, and the character has been praised from all quarters, with fans and critics alike hailing the character of Kamala Khan as a breakthrough for female Muslim representation in Hollywood. Following her debut in the Marvel comic back in 2013, she was so popular that she then went on to receive her own comic, which was great. Following on from that, she will now be featured on the small screen when Ms. Marvel drops in June this year on Disney+. Of course, the show will follow Kamala, who herself is a big superhero fan who somehow gains superpowers of her own. Khan's hero, Captain Marvel, inspires her to become a superhero herself, which begs the question, if it's so easy, why can't we all be superheroes? Will you be tuning in to watch this one when it drops? We sure will be. Werewolf by Night is up next. Stick around. This one was first brought to the attention of comic book fans back in the 1970s and ran for around 4 years. The horror-themed comic will be the first time Marvel has adapted a horror to the small screen and follows the story of the relatively pedestrian named Jack Russell, whose family has ties all the way back to the days of Dracula and Transylvania. So, of course, you can expect to see plenty of blood-sucking characters, we should think. When comic books first came out, there was a censorship on horror-themed comics, so Jack Russell was a latecomer to the Marvel family. The censorship relaxation also paved the way for Morbius, who we have just seen on the big screen, as well as Blade. Russell, of course, is from the lycanthrope line and joined up with other Marvel horror characters to form the Legion of Monsters. So we believe the story could possibly hark back to this storyline. Filming has already begun on this one ahead of a slated Halloween release date. Spooky. The main character Jack will be played by Gael Garcia Bernal, who appeared in the 2018 Maggie Gyllenhaal flick The Kindergarten Teacher. And the official synopsis for Werewolf by Night reads, "A new werewolf by night is prowling the Southwest, but all is not as it seems. A young man, a family curse, and an unholy experiment prove a dangerous combination for a small town in Arizona. All young Jake wants is to protect his people, but who will protect him from the monster within?" Next up, it's She-Hulk. Stay tuned. It's great that in this day and age we are getting so much content focused around female and minority characters. It has certainly been a long time coming, and long may it continue. She-Wolf is, of course, based around the comics, in which lawyer Jennifer Walters is shot by gangsters, so must go through a blood transfusion, which thankfully Bruce Banner is on hand to administer. In direct comparison to the male character of Banner, Hulk, Jennifer turns gray when she becomes angry, as opposed to green, to the detriment of all around her. She-Hulk first appeared back in the 1980s, in an era when there was a little less demand for female-led superhero characters, and was actually one of the final characters in the Marvel franchise to be designed and created by legendary comic book writer and publisher Stan Lee. Unlike a lot of Marvel TV shows, this one could include a bit more comedy, as the character herself is a little lighter than regular Marvel characters. It will be the first MCU show to focus mainly on comedy if reports are correct, and it will be interesting to see what they do with it. This one should drop towards the end of the year, as it is thought it is currently filming, similar to Werewolf by Night. Will you be watching She-Hulk when it drops? Give us your thoughts below. We're talking Kraven the Hunter now. Stay with us. This one is a little different from the others on the list today, as it is a feature-length movie. And whilst it is thought it will be with us by the end of the year, there have been some murmurings it could be delayed until the first quarter of 2023. The orphan son of Russian upper-class parents, Kraven is an avid hunter, would you believe? And when out one day on a hunting trip in Africa, he drinks a potion that gives him superhuman strength, of course. He is also capable of insane speed and has the reflexes of a jungle cat. Of course, Kraven the Hunter is one of Spider-Man's arch nemesis, having gotten bored of hunting small game. He first popped up in the comics in the mid-60s and was the third Spider-Man Spider-Man villain to be given his own movie in the Spider-Verse. However, unlike the other Spidey foes, Kraven is pretty much all bad and rarely ever appears on screen without Spider-Man. In the movie, he will be played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, who made his name in the Kick-Ass movies. Directing this one will be regular Oscar Isaac collaborator J.C. Chandor, who has also directed Margin Call and the 2013 disaster movie All Is Lost. And of course, Spider-Man producers Avi Arad and Matt Tolmach are also on hand to lend their Spidey expertise. Will you be watching this one when it drops? And now, it's Silk. Stay tuned. This one will be the first time Sony has dropped a Spider-Man TV show and will tell the story of Cindy Moon, who first appeared in The Amazing Spider-Man #1 back in 2014. Moon is a Korean American, which keeps with the theme of minority superhero leads, which we think is fantastic. She is dealing with the fallout of being bitten by the same radioactive spider that bit Spider-Man, but unlike the male character, her powers were suppressed after she was kidnapped and locked in an underground bunker for over a decade. It is thought that there probably won't be any mention of the male character, Spider-Man, as Disney usually don't allow for the character to be shown or even discussed other than in the end credits. So it will be interesting to see how they show Silk without any mention of Spidey, unless Disney make an exception for this one. We think that shooting for this one concluded earlier this year, which should mean that Silk could be on our screens as early as this summer. Are you looking forward to watching Silk when it drops? Give us your thoughts and opinions below. And finally, some pretty dark Marvel news. Stay tuned. Unfortunately, star of the Marvel movie Thor, Joseph Gad, who played the villain Frost Giant Gundroth back in 2011, has been arrested by LAPD for allegedly engaging in online sexually explicit communication with a minor. Investigators are currently building their case and have appealed to other potential victims to come forward. The actor, who also played Then Warg in hit HBO series Game of Thrones, was arrested in his home earlier this month as police executed a search warrant. Apparently, the police received a tip that he had engaged in sexually explicit communication with a minor online. Gad, who now lives in LA but is originally from London, was released on $5,000 bail and addressed the issue via Twitter, saying, "I obviously want to address the absolutely horrifying and completely untrue allegations recently leveled against me. They are 100% categorically wrong and reckless. I have confirmed errors and misleading information in today's press release. I am fully cooperating with police and LAPD to get to the bottom of this. I look forward to clearing my good name. Thank you to all my friends and supporters who know that this is untrue and understand that for legal reasons, I cannot comment further on social media." Unfortunately, accusations of this nature often carry with them a presumption of guilt, and even if it turns out that he is innocent, this could potentially follow him around for the rest of his life. But, of course, if he's guilty, then he needs to be punished accordingly. What do you guys make of this one? As always, thanks for tuning in today, and remember to stop by next time for some more fun and games. Also, why not like and share today's video? And if you haven't already subscribed to our channel, what on earth are you waiting for? Bye, guys.